Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. I actually didn't want to talk about this case because I was literally avoiding it. I felt, it's their family problem. They sorted themselves. Let them deal with their mess and let them deal with whatever has happened. But actually, I was on Auntie Adune's show, and some of the things I felt I wanted to touch about, she did talk about them, but I also want to talk about it from a personal view as well. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I'm greeting you as you are joining. Isaac, so you have the Fayose brothers or the Fayose siblings. We have Isaac Fayose, Ayo Fayose, who happens to be their oldest brother from what they say, who happens to be their eldest brother, and then we have Bosse. They have a sister who is in London. She's quite vocal. I think I've seen her video on a few occasions, so she's quite vocal. Now, I'm not going to waste our time. I saw this video. I was actually speaking to someone when the video came through. When I saw the video on Isaac Fayose's show, Fayose's page, because I follow him. I felt the video was quite... yes, it's their family problem. They settled it. But I just felt something just did not feel right to me about the way things were said. But anyway, let's listen to it together. They actually remind me of my grandmother.
Good evening, Nigerians. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, friends and families all over the world. My name is Otumba Emmanuel Ajishafe Fayose. Thank you for your love for the family. I want to let you know that peace has finally come. See Jamo, all the party that are concerned, they've all shared their swords. Kò sí Jamo, kò sí ilé tí ò sí ìjà kan tàbí èkejì. But torí pé tiwa yìí, ó jẹ́ ilé tí gbogbo àgbáyé mọ̀ ká. But a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run pé.
Hey, Fadekemi, good evening, sis. How's your son? How's your weekend
I
been?
know you pay that we are now at peace. I've spoken to all the party concerned. Isaac is at peace. Bosse is at peace. My brother is at peace. Our wife is at peace. Our grandchildren, our children are at peace. Àlàáfíà ti jọba, kò sí ìjà mọ́. Ẹ lè gbọ́ níbi kankan mọ́ pẹ̀lú kankan ṣe fídíò that is negative. Henceforth, you continue to hear us positively. Kò sí ìjà mọ́, kò sí ìjà mọ́. As I said, again, we are at peace. And we will continue to be at peace. Ní agbára Ọlọ́run.
Amen.
I want to thank you for your love. For your love for us. And to fẹ́ràn èèyàn ló ń béèrè. And to fẹ́ràn èèyàn ló ń sọ pé, kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ńbẹ̀ yẹn? A dúpẹ́ fún ìfẹ́ yín. Ọlọ́run á fẹ́ràn yín. Ilé àtọ̀nà yín ò ní bàjẹ́ o.
Àmín lórúkọ Jésù.
Nǹkan tó ti dánú ayé èṣù ní ìtàkùn sí.
Àmín lórúkọ Jésù.
Ẹ ṣé gan ni.
Ẹ ṣé.
On behalf of myself, my mother, my darling baby. I came to see her in Lagos, and she's fine. As you can see, we are all fine. We just got back from church. And what am I saying? We are at peace. And I want to use this medium also to further say sorry to our dear brother and father. Ayo Fayose.
Hello, Topoya, good evening.
Olówó orí mi.
Ó ti tán bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn, kò lè tán bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn, orí èṣù ti fọ́, orí èṣù ti yá. Àlàáfíà la wà o, àlàáfíà la dẹ̀ máa wà.
Àmín.
Ní orúkọ Jésù, Olúwa wa.
Àmín.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah, hallelujah,
Praise the
hallelujah.
Lord.
Hallelujah.
Amen. The Lord is good.
All the time.
Most especially to me
And my family.
and all of us and the family of Fayose. God bless you.
So that's Ayo Fayoshe's mom, the Fayoshe sibling. That's their mom and their brother. I'm guessing that's one of their younger brothers. Some few days, I think it was actually last week. It was last week that the whole rigmarole started with their family, where they talked about. I mean, the story. I did a show on that, where they were, their brother was being called. Their brother's attention was being called, and there were concerns that were raised. When I saw this video, the first thing that came to my mind when I saw this so-called reconciliation video, when I saw it, the first thing that came to my mind was, so they could do it in an amicable way. Why did they bring it to social media? Now, I get it. I mean, they all have access to their brother from the look of things. And I wonder why social media was a place to bring it. Now, of course, I'm not part of their family. I don't live in their family. Okay? I'm not within their family. But you see, social media, when it comes, internet never forgets. That's one thing we all need to understand. Internet never forgets. And there is no family that they do not have. There's no family. In short, there's no family at all that does not have their own fallout. Every family have their own fallout. Hello, Wena, good evening. Wena, I was telling you I didn't want to do this show, but then I had a reflection about it because there were a lot of things I felt that I need to talk about. So that's the reason why I'm doing it. We're talking when the video came out, and we're talking about it. So there's no family that doesn't have that don't have their own grievances. In short, it's not possible that you are siblings and you will not fall out with each other. It's not possible. I can tell you that for free. It is not possible. Except we want to lie to ourselves. It's not possible. Yes. It's not possible that we will not have misunderstanding with our siblings, and But saying that, when I did, I was thinking about it, and then actually I was watching Auntie Aduni's show, and there were some things Auntie Aduni was raising, which I also had that views, and I thought, okay, you know what? Let me do a show on it. Let me talk about it. Let me talk about some of the views I have. Not necessarily, highlighting. I mean, I'm not going to repeat. I'm not basically repeating some of the things Auntie has already said. Maybe expand on it, kind of. I didn't finish watching that show, to be fair, because I was in and out doing stuff. First and foremost, like I said, internet never forgets. And it's very easy to put on the ring light and just press the live button or press record button and start airing our differences. There's also that thing where when you say things, if there's one thing about me as a person, I try not to speak when I'm angry or when I'm upset about something. I could be upset, but not when I'm angry. I try not to speak because I'm that kind of person. I'm that kind of person that I don't like my anger or my emotions to control me. When I was younger, while I lived with my aunt, I struggled to manage my emotions because I won't lie to you, I was that very, very irritated young girl growing up. There were things that were done, there were things that were said, there were things, to be fair, and I'm not, there are some things my auntie said, I'm not being a devil's advocate for her, but I personally don't think she meant some of the things she said, okay? And there were some ways I acted. I wasn't necessarily acting towards her either. It was more of my own frustration as a child. Things would happen and I'm like, why is she taking this on me? Why can't you, this adult, sort your problems out? Why am I the one at the receiving end? And I acted. I'm not going to sit down and tell you my auntie did it all. That's not true. I also reacted. And my reaction, obviously being a child, my reaction obviously got the bashing. You understand? And as I grew up I was a very, very angry young girl and a very, very angry teenager. And it did take a lot for me to learn to manage my emotions. It took a lot. And there is no way I will talk about managing my emotions without referring to my ex-husband. There's no way I will talk about it without referring to him, because he played a major role, directly and indirectly. He played a major role in supporting me to manage my emotions, because sometimes I just lash out on him. And sometimes it doesn't even mean anything. Maybe it's like very minor thing. I would lash out. You understand? Because that was my own way of reacting. That was my own way of, responding. And I also, as a parent, my son also helped me. I have to be fair. And I think my son helped me in the sense that at a point I would lash out. And I discovered that to some extent my son had my kind of temper, or my kind of emotional lashing. Okay? So it was, I don't know, as a parent, sometimes when you have children, there's no way your children will not have your traits. Okay? So when I began to mirror myself in my son, I had to learn to start giving myself pep talks. Okay? I'm that kind of person. I want to help everybody. That's my own way of responding to things. I want to help everybody. I don't like being asked, are you okay? Are you all right? That kind of a thing. So I just, even when I'm going through my own stuff, when I'm going through my own, I'm still comported. That's how I mask my emotion. I'm still comported, responding to the needs of others. So, as I began to grow as a young girl, I learned to use silence as a very powerful tool. Not because I needed to be quiet, but I learned to redirect my emotions. So it's yes, I would react if I need to react as a person. I will react if I need to react. But the truth is, it's not common that I will react to something. It's not common. I learned to tame my reaction. Or rather, I learned to suppress my emotions. So that leaves me to be very unpredictable. Whereby if something is bothering me, or maybe I'm overwhelmed with something, or maybe there's something, whatever it is, the first thing I do is I go back into my shells. Because I'm that kind of person that I know that if I react based on how I feel, or if I react based on the emotions I feel at the time, I might say things that I would, when I now reflect, because I'm very, very reflective, when I now reflect, I will feel very bad for saying what I've said. So initially, it was more like I was a walk in the park. I was like a footmat. Okay? And I remembered my older sister and I, we have very different personality. Okay? My immediate older sister, we have very, very different personality. And I have learned to appreciate our relationship because we've come a long way. There was a time me and her, we were like cat and rat. We don't see eye to eye. Okay? And for me, I was kind of I get hurt by the way she speaks to me. And upon reflection, sometimes maybe she didn't even realize what she was saying. It doesn't excuse the way it came across. But maybe she didn't realize, but me too, I didn't help. Because when she reacted, I was like, she would say some things and I'm just like, this one, and then when it gets to my teeth, I just lash out. And when I lash out, I will end up saying things, and I will now be feeling bad because I will end up saying things I shouldn't even, I don't mean what I'm saying, but at that particular time, I actually want her to feel the pain, I want her to feel how I'm feeling, if that makes sense. So I would lash out at her. And for a long time, both of us, we don't cross, I just do not cross our paths. I made it a deliberate action. I don't cross our path at all. And there were a lot of perceived, well, there were a lot of things that went on. We all didn't grow up. We're five of us. We didn't grow up in the same home, so you can imagine. We all have different personalities and stuff like that, and it was difficult because there was a lot of blames. How things went ahead, da 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 da. All sort of stuff. But interestingly, me and my immediate younger brother, we get on. I would say well. And I think the only reason why I would say we get on well, not because we don't offend ourselves, is because I think we learn to respect each other's boundaries. And he's actually a very good listener. So we tend to respect each other's boundaries. And I think, we tend to respect, I will leave it at that. We tend to respect each other's boundaries. Okay? Like, I could bear it all to him. I wouldn't feel judged. The Lord did happen in my own personal life that, maybe, it's easy to sit at the other end of the fence and say, you should have done it this way. You should have done it this way. You are not doing this because of this. It's very, very easy to point that finger. Very, very easy. And it's very easy when you don't wear someone's shoes. It's very, very easy for you to judge over the fence. And I felt in my own personal situation, I felt my younger brother was more at grace with me, my immediate younger brother, whereby, like, he pays attention. It's not like he will not just say, you did this, you did this. No, he wants to understand the reasoning behind why I did what I did. And because of that, I kind of geared a lot towards him. So much so that I can call him without having to paraphrase. I can call him and tell him stuff without having to paraphrase what I'm saying. And of course, over the years, that has been the situation. Okay. Now, myself and my senior sister, obviously, we are cool together. We do talk to ourselves. We have that relationship. We've built that bond. Okay. And and obviously, as we got to know ourselves, it took a lot for us to get there. I won't lie to you. It took a lot for us to get there, because as a person, I think even when she got married, I couldn't understand. I was like, my sister is doing all of this. Can't the husband, he's the husband. Can't the husband see what's going on? Why is the husband not stepping in? But it could be, maybe the guy was stepping in. I don't know. You understand? But it was very easy for me to say, because I don't live in their house. So I was like, in my head, I'm like, why is the husband not, stepping in? Why is he not cautioning his wife? The wife is doing this, the wife is doing that. The wife is my sister. So, it was very easy. And I began to react towards the husband. I started reacting towards him. Not that I was nasty. I wasn't doing anything bad. I don't know. He's never said that. He's never said that I've done something bad to him. But I started reacting because there were things I was saying. And maybe because I was at defense, maybe because I was very defensive in the way I acted, for me, I could not understand, because I just felt, my sister is doing this. She's married, her husband. Can the husband see? And it's very easy. And I'm saying this because I was reflecting on the Fayose's relationship and the rigmarole that has happened. And for me, I remember that, and my older sister's relationship is a very good way for me to express what I want to say. So it was very easy for me to look towards the husband and say, your wife can't use, I know that I was saying it to him because I didn't really, but I could not, in my head, I couldn't get my head around, is it that the husband cannot see? Why, she's doing this, she's doing that, whatever it was that she was doing at the time. But interestingly, it could have been, I've never really, funny enough, I'm actually one of these, I'm going to actually unpick that with my brother-in-law. The truth is, I never really sat with him one day to even ask him, but I had that resentment towards him, and I would believe I acted on it, because I wouldn't even go close to her. It was that bad. We were night and day, we don't see ourselves night and day. And what even used to irritate me back then was my sister will now behave as if everything was normal, and that used to drive me to the walls. But like I said, that made me resent her husband. But in all fairness, it could have even been that maybe the poor man, maybe it's possible he was probably speaking to his wife, and he was also being very careful not to get involved in our sibling grievance at the time. Who knows? It could have been, maybe, most likely, I don't know. So it could have been that there's a lot of caution in his own angle, where I don't want to interfere. They are siblings, I don't want to get involved in their rigmarole, whatever is going on with them. It's most likely that happened. Or it could just be a case of, well, I want no more, Gary. They will sort themselves out. You understand? So it was very evident. I remember my late mom used to always, when we have this misunderstanding, or I would say to my mom, like sometimes my mom would call me. I would say my mom was very good in reading my emotions. Because sometimes she would call me. She would just call me randomly. And she'd say, Inkoba. When she talks, I would be, Mom, Kidiko, it's very easy, And I would just say, Mommy, Kidiko. I would just kind of talk, and she'd say, Manisu. I always, sometimes when I remember it, I would just laugh. She said, Manisuru. Just calm down and listen. And for me, and I'm that kind of person, once I say once I do what I want to do, that is me, it's over. On to the next thing, and I've decided what I want to say, I'm out of the place. But I learned to do things differently as I grew older. And I also learned to, I think over time, what I learned to do was, with my siblings, I learned to take each and every one of them for who they are. I learned to take them for their personality. This is who this person is, this is who that person is. And just find your person among all of them. It doesn't mean that I love them less. It doesn't mean I love them more. I'll just do my own thing, and that's me. And if there's something bothering me, or maybe there's something, or sometimes there's nothing. Like my other younger brother is a pastor. Sometimes when me, I just go, I just blank everybody. And he used to joke. He would say, Egbonti hibernate. And I think when he gets to his head, when he gets to the top of his neck, he will just call me. He will say, Egbon kilo de kilo shele. Eti hibernate kilo de kilo sheyin. That kind of a thing. So, we learn to do things differently. And I guess the moment I learned to understand the family dynamics and our, not just family dynamics, our individual dynamics, I learned to take a step back. And I learned not to be very quick to react. And trust me, being not quick to react has actually helped me a lot. When I now look, upon reflection, and I wish I had learned to do that at very early stages, because it made me reflect so well, and it actually makes me manage relationship and friendship very well. It makes me manage it very, very well. It takes a lot for me to lash out, but when I lash out, trust me, you don't want to see the other side of me. Not because I would do anything bad. It's just at that stage, I just let loose. I don't care who you are. I will look into your face and tell you what I think about you at that stage. And I will not hold back what I'm saying. So, over time, that's, so the reason why I'm relating it, I'm thinking of the Fayose. And, when they had their quarrel, the sister, Bosse, was very quick at jumping on the wife. The wife did this. Oh, thanks so much, Shola. Thanks so much. It's very, like they were blaming, that Bosse, Fayose sister was screaming. Feyishara, you did this, you did that, you shaking it. She was there, busy bashing the woman. Even told us the history of how they met, how they brought her to London to come and marry her brother, blah, blah, blah. Those stories that touch the heart. Now, the truth is even possible that Feyishara, all they are accusing the husband of, it's possible that the Feyishara does not even have a clue what her husband is doing. It's possible. And that's if you can relate it back to what I was saying about my older sister and her husband. For me, she's my sister. And I was very upset with her. You understand? And as far as I was concerned, she's married. Her husband is supposed to caution her or tame her, or even call her attention to some of the things I'm raising you know. But then I don't live with them. Could it be that the husband was calling her attention and she was not in the mood to listen? It's possible. You know, that's the truth. It's possible. But I'm not there. I don't live in their house. Even if I live in their house, I'm not privy to their day-to-day activities to know whether the husband is cautioning her or not. As far as I was concerned, you know, my sister was doing whatever she was doing. The funniest thing was sometimes it was not even directly at me. Sometimes I was even, you know, when you say you are doing dada oleja, botola buroto, toleja, that was more of my case. Hello, Fumi, good evening. You know, it was more sometimes it wasn't even directed at. Most times the grievance I even had with my sister, a lot of times it wasn't even directly at me. It was probably something with someone else. You understand? Maybe we're like someone else, maybe another sibling or my mom, or you know, that kind of a thing. So for me, I felt the need to respond, and I'm quite outspoken. Okay, I don't hold back. If I'm not happy with something, trust me, you will know. I don't hold back. So it was very easy for me to like, he's a man, he's this anyway. So I was thinking about this Fayose woman, Fayose's wife. And I always remembered when Fayose talks about his wife, he always says, you know, in every given opportunity that he has to talk about his wife, he always say that, hey, this is my wife. She's my powerhouse, oh. She's my power. I am very, very stubborn. I will go and look for trouble outside and bring it to this woman. In short, it is only this woman that can marry me. On numerous occasions, Fayose have said it on numerous occasions. Now you see this woman, she's the only one that can marry me. I know they hear word. I am that man. I know they hear word. I gave her a lot of trouble. He says it. He doesn't hide it. At every given opportunity, he says it. Now, I know they hear word. I will bring trouble to her doorstep, and she will still accommodate me, irrespective. And listening to Fayose, you can tell that Fayose can be someone. He's someone that has his own opinion. You know, he's someone that, you know, perhaps because he's the first child, maybe not necessarily. He has a very strong character. That's what you would call people like Fayose. Fayose has a very strong character. And he's someone that naturally, just listening to him, even the way he talks, you can tell that he's very fierce. He doesn't hold back. If he has something to say, he will say it to your face. He doesn't send you. He doesn't care what your reactions will be. Should he have toned down the way he behaves? Maybe. But again, maybe it was that his own way of survival. Who knows? Maybe that was his own way of survival. And I'm not in any way, of course, I'm not privy to his childhood. But even if I'm privy to his childhood, everybody is an individual. We all have our ways of reacting to things. And we have our way of managing relationships. But one thing you cannot take away from Fayose is the fact that, yes, he acknowledges that when it comes to being a good husband to his wife, when it comes to being a good husband, in so many numerous occasions he failed. He says it himself. This is not somebody making it up for him. He himself, he says it. And he said, when I don't listen to my wife, I get the repercussion of it. He said, there's anywhere I get to today, this woman, behind Fayose, behind Ayodele Fayose, that's what he calls himself. Behind Ayodele Fayose is this woman. I cannot talk about my success. I cannot talk about my journey without referring to this woman. He said, when I will go and do all my guru, she's the one. She was there. She was that stability in the home front and with the children. So he acknowledges her role as his wife. And like he always says, that's a woman that is grateful that he married that woman. That because that's the only woman that could have married him. Of course, I'm very sure if you carry the woman now, you sit with her one-on-one, if you are private to having this private conversation with her, I'm sure she has a lot to say. And any woman that can marry, even the way Fayose reacts, no, I don't mean it in a bad way. The way Fayose reacts, it takes a strong woman to marry a very strong, fierce woman, to marry him, because you can tell that he's got a very strong opinion and he would act in the way that he wants to act. He's not someone that can be controlled. He's not someone that one woman can say, don't go out, sit down. Or somebody can just come, Fayose, Ayo, this is what I want you to do. I don't think, it doesn't come across like someone like that. Okay? And you can also see that trait even among his others, even among his siblings, the likes of Isaac, the likes of Bose, all of them. You can see that trait where they are very fierce. They've all got very strong character. I mean, look at the way Isaac Fayose speaks. You can tell that he's a strong character. He's got strong character. And it's not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong in having a strong character. But of course, you who want to marry someone like that, you have to understand the person you are getting married to. Now, they had their quarrel. And of course, Fayose was accused. He did this, he did that. They even accused his children. One of his children, Rogba. Apparently, Isaac Fayose brought out a WhatsApp message and showed what Rogba wrote with regards their grandmother. Now, I remember when we were looking at that WhatsApp, when I talked about their story, I said, that WhatsApp is a one-sided conversation. Rogba, obviously, they are showing what Rogba said, which is Fayose's son and Isaac's nephew. He's showing what Rogba said in the WhatsApp. But we did not see what led to that conversation. Because conversation is a two-way. It's a two-way thing. Okay? It's very easy. They've shown what he said. This is what he's saying, blah, 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 blah. The sister came out too. Rogba said this. Your children said this. Your kinikon said kinikon. Okay, fine, we hear. But before those children started saying something, what led to the conversation? For every action, there's a reaction. What led to that reactions? Of course, we will never hear what has led to it till date, because now they have settled themselves. And even when they were judging their matter, they did not judge matter to what led to it. Everybody was. Isaac said things from his own angle. What's her name? Boss said their sister decided to say things. She also said things from her own angle. Of course, Rogba obviously is not saying anything. We didn't see him say anything aside the WhatsApp message that we saw. It's based on Boss saying, this is what what's the name? This is what your son is saying he wants to do. Fayose, you shaking. That's all that was being thrown out there. Now, Fayose never came out to come and say Pim. Rogba obviously did not come out to come and say Pim. Then you have Fayose. I remembered all that Fayose just said is, the things you have on your phone, be mindful. Be mindful of the kind of things you use your phone to say. Of course, it's a family stuff. And I'm guessing Fayose was not ready. And that's one thing I have observed about him. Yes, this is not the first time his siblings have kind of called him out. But I've never heard him, at least to the best of my knowledge, in the public domain. I've never heard him respond back to his siblings in the public domain. It doesn't mean they might not be responding to them in private, but he's never responded to them in the public domain. Even when they were dragging him recently, he never responded to them in the public domain. Now, they were the ones who said this and said that. Now, when you now look at all of this, okay, they've come to social media. They've highlighted their family problem, which is fine. At least, to an extent, there's an insight to how their family dynamics are. They've said they've heard their grievances and everything. But I kept wondering, why go to social media? You all have access to this person. You could speak to this person. Even the wife, let's even say the man is heady. What about his wife? What about even your nephews? You could have spoken to them. I'll tell you, I will bring you back again to my own personal relationship with my older sister. I remember there was a time, there was the very last big quarrel me and my older sister had. We had a very big altercation where I was so irritated, like I did not hold back. And I think that was the last one. Because sometimes she would say things I would just kind of ignore her. But this particular one, I can't remember what it was that she said, and I went ballistic with her. So at that time, I remember calling my immediate younger brother and I said, this. And he just said, he's Baba Gege. So he was like, no, Egbon, do this. And I said, well, okay, fine. I said, but me, I've said what I want to say, and I've told her never in her life should she ever repeat that with me again. And that was how I responded to her. I said, I can't remember what it was that she said. And I said, never in your life. I said, I keep quiet for you because you are older than me. But you know what? You've crossed the line. And never you in your life. I remember saying that. And to be fair, that was the last time we ever had any big altercation. I remember, in short, she was taken aback because I've never been that, like I've never responded that way to her. Usually it's always, the bickering, women, female now is always bickering kind of, this thing. She will say something like, we're going to female Gary, I beg you. And then me, I will just ignore her. And of course, I kind of avoid her. But on this particular occasion, I can't remember what it was she did. But it was accumulative. It wasn't just like a one-off thing. It was accumulative stuff. And she just said whatever it was that she said. And I just thought, do you know what? I've had enough. And I went ballistic with her. And I just literally, honestly, even me, like, I don't feel bad for what I said. Because I meant every word I said. I don't feel bad. Till date, I still do not feel bad for what I've said. But the thing was, I then went ahead. My auntie that I lived with, because she and my auntie, they're very close. So that my auntie, I think she called me. I can't remember that she called me or something. And I can't remember whether it was me that called her or she called me. I can't remember who called who between the two of us. And my auntie then said, and because I was irritated, she must have called me round about the time, or woman have spoken to herself at the time. So I then reacted to what I now said to her. I said, warn your niece. I didn't even think twice about it. Like I said, I was that irritated. So she was talking to me or something. I just said, you better warn your niece. You guys are friends. Me, I don't have time for no. I just kind of said what I wanted to say. And of course, my auntie spoke to her. She probably said whatever it was that I said to irritate her, blah, blah, blah. And, there was whatever conversation was had. And I remember my younger brother calling me, my immediate younger brother, he called me. And he was asking me what had happened, because of course, I was very quick to hang the phone on him. I just said what I wanted to say and I hung the phone. And he called me much later. Again, it's just because he kind of understands me better. Okay? So he called me and was like, Egbon kilo shele. And I told him, this. I can't remember what the details was. But I told him whatever it was that happened. And it wasn't just about saying what happened. It was how I was, how I felt, what it meant, how I felt about it. So I explained it and he was like, oh, okay. He didn't take side. That's one thing about him. He didn't say, oh, she should not have. And he went ahead, spoke to her. And my older sister, and me, being me, I was not ready to say sorry. Because in fairness, to be honest, till today, I can't remember what it was that happened. But she had said something, and I didn't feel sorry. To be fair, I didn't feel the need to say sorry. Because as far as I was concerned, I didn't, she annoyed me, she offended me. And she went below the belt with whatever she was that she did. So, we called ourselves, she called me after a while. Of course, I think she called me initially and I was like, look, I wasn't ready to talk to her because I was that angry. And I didn't want to aggravate. I didn't just want to talk out of just talking. So much later, she called me. I think my younger brother was on the phone, blah, 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 blah. We talked. And then I said, okay. So I think I can't remember whether it was me that called her or she called me, whichever one. We shall call ourselves. And I apologize, we apologized to ourselves. And I said, look, we don't have to go this down with ourselves. There's no law that says we have to be friends. But surely we should have to respect ourselves. We have to respect our boundaries. We have to respect each other. I'm not going to like everything you're doing. You're not going to like everything I'm doing. And that sets a different tone to our relationship. And I think, perhaps, in fairness, I think that was the first time I was saying, look, Egbon, this is how you make me feel. These are the things you did. We're able to trash it out. whatever it was that led to whatever it was. We're able to like trash it out. She said her mind, I said my mind, and I was like, okay, okay, sorry. We're genuinely sorry. We said genuine sorries, and she actually highlighted the fact that even like whatever it is, she sees the way I react towards her husband. I don't like acknowledge him and stuff like that, which was true. I wasn't acknowledging him, and I said the reason. I said, look, this is how I feel, and this is the reason why I don't, because I don't understand why all of this is going on, and stuff like that. We said sorry to ourselves, and we decided we're going to build a different type of relationship, and so we did. Okay, it's not a perfect relationship, but I don't think I don't think I will ever get to that stage again, whereby I will get that upset to react the way I reacted back then. I don't ever think so. At least I remember during my son's wedding, I think on the whatever, we had the altercation, but then we came back to ourselves. We apologized, which is not something that we would not naturally do. But very quickly we're able to like apologize to ourselves. No, I shouldn't have acted like this. Okay, yeah, that kind of a thing, and we did it. Now, with this Fayose, first and foremost, there is a time and place for something. Mama obviously is playing the mama role. She wants peace among her children. Now, Fayose, apparently they've apologized to him. He's their father. He's the firstborn. Agbalomangba. All those Yoruba stones. Yes, Agbalomangba. But the truth is, his wife and his children has been thrown under the mats or under the bus. Now we know that one of his sons, whether true, whether lies, one of his sons na junkie. Now we know that the wife, that they married the wife for him. The wife was not his choice. He was married for him. Now we know they brought wife from Ibadan to come and marry Fayose. And when they brought the woman, Fayose locked the woman and her mother and the mother and his mom. He locked her outside. Now we know all of that. There's a Yoruba saying, words are like egg. When it drops, it's like a raw egg. When the egg drops, yes, you can clear it out, but you can never pack it back into the shells. This makes me reflect, and that's why I was talking about my own personal relationship with my sister. This made me reflect. You know why? Because it's very easy when you are angry. It's very easy to say things, and you don't caution at that time. You are so focused on what you're saying, on your emotions, and you're not thinking of the impact it has, the long-term impact that would have on the person you are saying that to. Fayose, obviously, from the look of things, they are saying he has forgiven. I mean, I don't live in their house. Most likely he has forgiven. Maybe, I don't know. But the thing is, his wife has been so disrespected. His children are not kids anymore. All Fayose's children are all adults. In short, he even has a Kidon Porukwe. He has his one. I think either one or two of them are now married. So the children are also seeing what their uncle and auntie are doing. If I were personally, I would have felt more comfortable if Fayose's sibling, if they've actually handled this privately. There's a saying in Yoruba, it's not all clues that you put out in the sun. Now all of you have done your rigmarole. You have said all sorts of things. I want blogger to pick book. But now that you guys have made up, bloggers are not so much interested, are they? They're only interested in the rigmarole of it. They're not interested in the peace around it. All of this would have been put out there. We live in a world of social media. Most likely, Fayoshe's children are hurt by what has been said. Yes, they have to forgive and forget. They have to forgive. But can they forget? It's a word of social media. Those kids, those young men have been bashed. They've put out WhatsApp to say, Fayoshe's son is trying to make his grandmother homeless. Yes, the boy probably would have frustrated. Okay, mommy, grandma, ẹ má bínú, ẹ̀gbọ́n mi, daddy, ẹ má bínú, daddy, ẹ má bínú, uncle, ẹ má bínú, auntie, ẹ má bínú. Well, I don't know. They probably would, they will tell them forgive and forget. You know all those tones now. Grandma, ẹ má bínú, uncle, ẹ má bínú. Personally, I don't see the need why that WhatsApp was brought out. I don't see the need why Auntie Bose could call her brother whatever name she wants to call her brother. I mean, Isaac talks to Isaac doesn't hold back in lashing his brother. But still at that, exactly when they don't stand. Isaac does not hold back in lashing his brother. And in fact, most times he doesn't even do it on he's very critical of his brother. But then the question again is Fayose their only older brother? Because from my understanding, I think their mom has other kids. Is it because Fayose is the one with the name? What I see them doing in this video, they have each other's phone number. Let's even say Fayose is angry. He doesn't want to pick their call. And I believe Fayose was still angry, but at least they were able to calm him down. And they were able to get audience with him. For Mama and their brother to come out and be singing Jadokwe. It means they were able to get his attention. Things would have been better managed. There is no home that does not have his own. There is no home. Anybody that tells you one particular home, in my own family, all of us are at peace, is a lie. It's a big fat lie. Families have grievances. It's not about the grievance, it's how the grievance is being managed. Exactly, Wena. It's about how they are managing that grievances. How you manage grievance matters a lot. And then even as siblings, if you are managing grievances, because the spouse of your siblings have no business in your grievance. You shouldn't be dragging them in. This is how they marry. This is how they met themselves. They brought her from Nigeria. The Onisu, Oshekinikan, you didn't even leave it at that. They went as far as calling her children, calling her son a dealer. Words hurt. It's very easy to say things. Egbon, ara yin o ya, kiniko. Words hurt. I have two brothers. They are both married. Those my younger brothers not offend me. They do offend me. We do offend ourselves, rather. But I will never drag their wives into it. You know why? Because the truth is, their wives is not the reason why we are having misunderstanding. Even if their wife is the reason, must we drag them into it? I mean, to me, that's how I see it. Must I drag their wives into it? I personally don't. I mean, like I said, I'm that kind of person. I just like to do my own thing. My brother's wives, I see them as my sisters, because I wouldn't want anybody to make me uncomfortable. So why should I make them uncomfortable? And relationship, how you build a relationship matters a lot. If I make my brother's wife uncomfortable, if I make them uncomfortable, they are going to make my brother's home uncomfortable. They are going to make their homes hell. It's about managing that relationship with your sibling. Even let's even say that my brother's wives, let's even say for whatever reason they are annoying me, because I see them as my sisters, I'm not going to come out and come and press ring lights. This person is because of him. That is because of you. That's why my brother did this. No. As families, let's learn to work on the relationship of those spouses. Like I said, my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, I struggled. It's not like I didn't really go to him and say, Egbon, you are this, you are that. No. The truth, all I just did was, to be fair, all I did was I just avoided them. I just kind of, I can't be bothered, Jerry, I beg. Let them do their thing. But over time, we've been able to build a kind of relationship. It's not, I would not naturally just call him, Egbon, why you, sometimes we talk and stuff like that, but it doesn't, that it doesn't mean that I don't respect him. When I go over to the house, we talk, we gist and stuff like that. To me, that's it. It doesn't make him a bad person to me. And he's a very wonderful, he's a wonderful person. Or rather, I just, I'm a mother-in-law. Although I refuse to call myself that because that's not who I am. I'm a mother to my daughter. And one thing is, if my son does something, I'm not going to turn around and say, it's because of the wife. Why? Why should the wife be the one that I'm blaming? Is he not an adult? It's adult that gets married. He's an adult. If he does something that I don't like, I'd rather trash it out with him than blame the wife. And vice versa. I remember before my daughter-in-law, before they got married, I remember calling her one day, we're having a conversation. Even my son, I think I actually said to my son, initially, I called my son, I said, you know what? I want to assure you, your wife will never have a reason to be uncomfortable around me. It's just one of my son will say, he will say, Mom, what those your random pep talks? We're just talking one day. I can't even remember what it was we're saying, and that I just felt the need to have that comment. I said, look, your wife she's my daughter. She will never have a reason why she will feel uncomfortable around me. And I'm determined, and I've always said that to myself. My son's wife is my daughter. I don't care whatever mistake she's making. She's allowed to make mistakes. She's human. It's at home. She's allowed to do whatever she wants to do. If she will come home money and say, I want my husband to go, so that is their business. Good for them. She's the owner of her husband. When I wanted to, in short, my son used to laugh. When I wanted to go and see them, I sent a message to her. I said, I'm coming over to see you guys, we have those our inside joke. And you say, Mom, your son is saying you have not called him. And I would just laugh and say, hey, he's jealous. Women supporting women, we have those our because I want her to be comfortable. I want her to feel free with me. I don't ever want her to feel, this is my mother-in-law. I cannot say what I want to say. Say it. Why can't she be free? Before they got married, some things happened. And I remember saying to my son, no. This is how to do things. These are things, this particular thing, you need to manage it, because if you don't manage it, if you don't put these boundaries in place, your wife will be at a receiving end. We had those conversations. And when I saw that, he understood me to an extent, I called the other person that I know he will also listen to also understand the context from a man's angle. We had those conversations. We need to start normalizing relationship building with in-laws. What Bose said was too much below the belt. Okay, yes, they've made up with their brother now. Our wife, our children, they are okay. Fine. But the words, the hurtful words that have been said, can it be erased? You didn't even say it in a closed circle. You came on social media, it's on ring lights. Ìyàwó Ọlọ́run gígùn, okay, fine. Anybody can be Ọlọ́run gígùn. But going that far to call the children, let's even agree that the boy is doing what you're accusing him of doing. Must you come out to come and put that out in public? The boy might just be the boy obviously will okay, it's my father's sister. But then, has he really gone away from his mind? We know how social media works. They do it into short videos. They will start circulating it. Àṣọmọ Fayose ń fagbó, àṣọmọ Fayose ń tagbó. Ọmọ Fayose tó ń tagbó is also your nephew. Àǹtí ọmọ tó ń tagbó, àǹtí ọmọ tó ń fagbó. You've put that out there. Yoruba people will say ilé ẹni láti ń jẹ èkúté onídodo. Is in your house that you eat what do they call the name of èkúté? Èkúté onídodo. A lot of family. There's no family that is perfect. There's nobody that does not have if everybody will tell you their own. I'm sure if you call my siblings today, they will tell you, ẹ̀gbọ́n yẹn wàhálà ẹ̀ pọ̀ báyìí. The same. We have our differences. But having our differences does not mean we can still not thrive. My brother cannot offend me today. None of my brothers will offend me. And I will now call their wives. You are the one. If it's not because of you, my brother would not have done this. Why? Why should their wives? Why should I make their wives uncomfortable because my brother offended me? Why? Why should I make my brothers uncomfortable? Why should I make their wives uncomfortable? Why should I even make my nieces and nephews uncomfortable because their father did something, or because my sister did something? We need to learn to manage our emotions, and it's not everything that you carry and bring to social media. Okay, they said when you sell your family for pounds, you can't buy your family for a penny. You cannot sell your family for a penny and now choose to buy them for pounds. It's not possible. Lè tara lé yín lọ́pọ̀. Kẹ́ wá fẹ́ padà rà lọ́wọ́n. It's not possible now. You've put Fayose there out there. You guys have sown your dirty linens. You've put them all in the sun. Yes, you are forgiving yourself. You are not singing Jadokun. We agree. But those words that were said, they were too heavy. Those words that were traded, they were damn too heavy. The WhatsApp that was put out, there was no need. There was no need for that WhatsApp to be put out. That boy is being tagged as someone who wants to make his grandmother homeless, as someone who has no empathy. We only saw the WhatsApp conversation of that boy, of that young man. We didn't see the conversation that led to his response, to him reacting the way he reacted. We didn't see the conversations. We only saw the conversation on his own side. And from what Isaac says, Isaac has spoken. I remember when we were talking about Spark Nation. I remember Isaac saying it, that his son and Fayose's son, they told him about Spark Nation stuff. So he definitely has a relationship with his nephew, or with his nephews rather. It's okay. They've come on social media now. They are gbogbo ẹ ti parí. Wonderful. obìnrin tí ẹ bá ṣì yẹn is the mother of those boys. How do you think those boys feel? Fayose, that you are saying, okay, you are even accusing Fayose, he did this, he did that, and you are now blaming the wife. The wife did this. How do you know that the wife was part and parcel of it? And even the boys, even the young men that you are blaming, they want to make their grandmother homeless. These young men are adults. There's a limit to what their mom can say and can't say to them. I have an adult child. I can't just go and tell, even when my son was living under my roof, I can't just be commanding him. There's a stage your children get to. You don't just start commanding them. Except if you raised irresponsible kids. When your kids get to a certain age, you don't start commanding them. You have to negotiate conversation. But if you have raised kids who are irresponsible, then you feel the need to constantly command them. For in-laws, this is a big, for mothers, first and foremost, parents as a whole, learn to manage the relationship dynamics of your children. Your kids are always there. My late mom, one thing I always liked her for, when me and my older sister, I will never forget, when me and my older sister, when we have our loggerheads, when I will speak to my mom, either when she calls me or something, one of the reasons, she would, and sometimes it's even because of her I'm even reacting. And I remember she would say, wo egbon amaje, and that thing will just drive me to the walls. But I mean, she knows that what I'm saying, of course my mom is not going to side one person. That was one thing I liked about her. She would never take sides. She never took sides. She would say, wo, bye no, o ti le binu ju, wo not ti le binu ju. And I will not be getting angry. I will say, but why are you, that kind of a thing. But, me too, as I grew up, I began to understand why she was acting the way she was acting. I remember before my mom passed away, she spoke to me, and I remember us always saying, her last word to me was, Esheranyilo shushu owo. Nelo mi, juaranyilo. Esheranyilo shushu owo. That's make yourself a bunch of a broom bunch. Is that I think that's how they translate it. The broom when you use in sweeping. It's put up in bunch. I will never. That was my mom's last word to me. He said, "Yeah, mom, yes, I understand why you get angry. I didn't even know I didn't know she was going to pass. I wasn't going to, I was not going to have a second chance to have a conversation with her the following day. We were on the phone and we had these deep conversations. She was very, there were things we were talking about and she was like, I had this, that, and I was quite surprised that she observed a lot of things. I guess she knew she was going to go. I said, irrespective, Esheranyilo shushu. And it meant a lot. It doesn't mean that because you guys are in unity, it doesn't mean you will definitely, because you have different personalities. You have different individual personalities. You are definitely going to annoy each other. Even the spouses that are bringing into the family, you are going to annoy each other. But will I now say, oh, my brother's wife, this is what my brother's wife did to me, then I will now start reacting. She's new. She's allowed to have, she's allowed grace. My brother's wives, they are allowed grace. They are allowed to make mistakes. It's their home. It's their business. It's not in my place to come and be telling them this is how to live your home. Why should I come and be telling them how to manage their home front? Even sometimes when we have conversation, the kind of conversation we have is, you are a woman. This is how to do, this is how to do. We just have those casual conversations and that's it. As mother-in-laws, let's learn to open our arms to our daughter-in-laws, to our son-in-laws. Some ladies, when they want to marry, you will hear that they'll be praying. God, I want my mother-in-law to pie before we marry. Why are you that patient? So kind of mother-in-law? Why are you that sister that your brother's wife or your sister's husband will do something, that your sister will do something or your brother will do something? It is their spouse that you take to the laundry. You're not just taking them to the laundry, you are taking their kids to the laundry as well. Why? And you think those kids, yes, they are told to forgive, but will they forget? Whatever you guys are singing, that is, on our family. But those words were too much. And I hope mama has sat her daughter down. Nobody is saying your daughter cannot talk. But there are some things below the belt that is damn too much. And who knows? Could it be that the way they talk to the wife, the way this lady talked about the wife, could it be? Maybe that's part of the things that irritated Fayose. Who knows? We don't live in their house. Could it be that these are the things that irritated Fayose, and Fayose feels the need to protect his wife? That a man does something. There are some men, they react. Some men and some women, they react to things. It doesn't mean that there is a spouse that is controlling them. People do things in different ways. Let's normalize normal relationship. There's no law that says you have to be friends with all your siblings, but you can manage the dynamics. You don't have to make all of them your best friend. You can manage the dynamics. And when you're in grievance with someone, particularly your family member, there are ways to manage it. I tell you about my auntie. I'm not a fan of her. But me as a person, one thing I don't want to do, I don't ever want to say things that will irritate me about, not even irritate me, like irritate, things I will say that will not be feeling bad. So what do? I give her Baba silent treatment. You can't hold me for being silent. You cannot accuse me of being rude for being silent. When I'm in the mood to talk to her, I will talk to her. And even if we go talk to her, is hello, how are you, ma? That's all. After that, whatever she's saying, I've heard. She herself, she knows. I keep that conversation very, very simple. There was once I reacted. I think then that was when I was pregnant with my son. I remembered. I think my mom told her I was pregnant or something, and we were on the phone and something up, and she phoned me or I phoned her or something, and she was saying something, and I just reacted. I don't know why. Maybe if you, I don't know how to do the notification. Sometimes I don't get notification, to be fair. Maybe look at your settings. Sorry about that. I just give her silent treatment. That's what I do. I know sometimes she will call me Omoburuku Lomonye. Omonye oti buruju kinika. But I'd rather her call me Omoburuku, because me, I don't want anything that will stress my head. I don't want. And when I learn not to be reacting towards her, that even makes her more irritated. Sometimes silence is very golden and very powerful. There's no law that says you have to react back. Just be quiet. Yes, Isaac brought it online. But even the Isaac he brought it online. The Isaac that brought it online, he said so much without saying so much. But Auntie Bosse kuku carry spina. She carry spina and armor. Okufi wo gbogbo edanu. I'm hoping that this family has learned their lessons. And not just this family alone, all of us. It's not everything you bring on. People, when you carry it on social media, they will bring it. He's shaking it. Even the people that cannot even remove the lace of your shoes, they will have their opinion. They will have something to say. Everybody will have something to say. Some of them, their home, their home front is nowhere near your kind of home front. There were a lot of things that were said that were avoidable. I'm not saying they shouldn't say, but there were a lot of things that were avoidable. There's nothing as beautiful. There's nothing as beautiful as bridling your tongue. There are so many ways you can communicate without making it hurtful. There are so many ways. So who taught them to now go and be doing Igadokun with themselves? Who taught them to call? Eventually, why didn't they come and settle it on? Why didn't they do live chat and be settling it on social media? Why did they choose to settle it internally? So they knew. Definitely they know that. So internet never forgets. Everybody has where their tube pinches them and hurts them. But there's a way. There's a way you manage conversations. We just need to control our emotions. Particularly when it comes to family issues. We need to control, because look, everybody will walk away, but your family will always be there. Everybody will walk away. Now it's now their baba mi, oko mi, olowo ori mi. Of course, agbalo mangba, that's what it will end it. And that woman, she's been bashed, she's been bruised. Her children has been bashed, they've been bruised. The relationship might probably never be the same again. Because those kids will now do things in caution. And they're adults. They're going to do things in caution. Yes, they will respect you as their uncle, as their auntie. But they'll be very mindful. Anyway, family dynamics can be very, very tricky. Can be very, very tricky. But it's you knowing how to manage your emotions. Understand the personality of individuals, and manage it differently. There are so many ways to manage relationship without without even being so much, saying so much without saying so much. I hope we all learn. I hope we've all learned from this particular family. I'm hoping we have learned, because there's a lot to learn there. Social media is not a solution. Carry yourself to social media. Yes, people will carry it to social media. Social media, but then we all go to our beds. You are the one that have to live with the consequences of your actions on social media. And moreover, you are all adults. You've watched him all out. What if Fayose not? What if the wife too comes and say, maybe not me in Igba? You're not even thinking of your brother. You carried the wife, you ripped her apart. You're not thinking. What if the wife now decide, after Timo for this woman got to share for me? Me too, I will go and show you shake fire. Her kids are all grown up now. She can decide she wants to go and be living with her kids. Laanu brother yin, laanu value at all. For the way that man even talks about his wife, that woman is my life wire. She's the one. I know I've not been fair to her, but she's always stood by me. Come on, lo ba yin di nkan sínú, come on, lo ba yin gbogun fa gbon yin jẹ. What if she's never even reacting before, and now she now decide, oh yeah, ẹ̀yin ọmọ ẹ mọ̀ pé ti dàgbà ní ìsìn, nǹkan tí n bá sọ fún yín lẹ gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe. There's nothing anybody can do about it now. Mélòó ni Fayose ṣe ń jókòó sínú ilé? And the kids are all adults. You've forgotten that their mother has a strong hold on them. You know, the role of parents cannot be undermined in the life of kids, in the lives of children. And those children, from what Fayose has said so much about his marriage without saying so much, the little he says about his marriage is very obvious that things are not as smooth. And you can see the body language between him and his wife. I'm not saying there's anything bad, but I'm just saying there's the body language. It's very obvious there. Exactly. Make their daughter-in-law come be like be like Regina Daniel. They go see Shege fire. Make she come the update for them. As they talk, make sure she enter social media, begin the update. They shame themselves. They shame themselves. Talk. All the things they said, there was no need for it. All the things they were saying, there was no need for it in any shape or form. And you know the thing, like Yoruba will say, ojú tí ará ilé mi, ojú tí èmi náà. Carry your family problem, you carry and come outside. People wey no even feel pull, wey no fit tie the lace of una shoe, come begin dey happen and dey judge matter for una family. Meanwhile, they no even dey there. They don't know wetin dey happen. Why they need say wan kọ ìjà dópin? I hope truly you've all forgiven yourselves and you've trashed yourself, you've trashed things out. And hopefully, you guys will be very mindful. But then, the amount of information you guys have put outside too. Internet never forgets. So, Mark Zuckerberg control that Facebook will. What do you know about his family? What do you know about Mark Zuckerberg's family? Even Bill Gates, when he divorced his wife, they only put out information that they did press statement that allowed you, that they just gave you a summary. They didn't tell you the in-depth of what has happened. They just gave you summary. They didn't have to give you the summary of what's going on. Look at that guy that was caught on that Coldplay's concert. Himself and the partner. Till today, we just knew the early stages. Okay, the woman was seen. She was packing garbage. They manage themselves. Every family have what they are dealing with in their closet. You didn't need to come out and bash yourselves. You didn't need to come out and come and rip yourselves apart. Now we all know. We now know that Orishirishi is going on in your family. We now know that your nephew is going to throw your grandmother out, that she's collecting rent. Bill Gates separated with his wife. Aside their press statement, nobody hear any story again. Mark Zuckerberg that created his Facebook, how many times have you seen his children, let alone his wife? Even when he's putting out information about his wife, he's all well managed. They will just say what they want to say and they go away. Oton. Enough of all this. It's not even apart from the popular families. Bringing your family matter to social media, it doesn't resolve anything. It doesn't resolve things. Look at that Nigerian UK lady that came out crying, that was doing emotional blackmail for her husband. My husband dumped me in the UK. He dumped me. He removed me for his COS. When they carry in case, when they put someone on TikTok, it turned out that she is even the one. She thought she was disgracing the man. The man self, when person look himself, he call himself Rio Ogbanji. He call himself Rio Ogbanji. The guy gone to see Mike. When the guy begin to talk, everybody call madam, but this is not what you came to come and do. This is not really what happened when you came out to come and talk. This is not what you're telling us. The guy went to see Mike. All the things that the lady did not want the man to say, the guy started talking. That's what the social media does not forget. And when it comes to family grief, social media is not the place to settle it. It's a no. The people that, ask yourself, the people that created this social media platform, why are you not seeing themselves and their families on it? Have you never asked yourself those questions? Or you think Donald Trump and his wife, you think they don't used to quarrel? I won't care some all of that. You think they don't quarrel? How many times do you see them on social media, putting their dirty linens out in the public? Anyway, hopefully, we are able to draw our lessons. Social media is not a solution, no. It makes things worse. And hurtful words. Even when someone annoys you, there are ways to manage your emotions. There's no law that says you have to respond straight away. You can take a step back and respond later. And that will even be more dignifying, where you are more comported and you can respond. Anyway, I wish them a happy reconciliation. Uncle Fayose Kwagba. And I hope all of them, I hope they've learned their lesson now. Make it not be say, anyway, Christmas they come. Next week, by Friday, Friday. Now by Friday, you say week, December will go sweet. Now by Friday we go no. Tomorrow, I they can't do, I get show where I won't do tomorrow. We'll come talk. On this note, thank everybody for joining me. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. Bye.